Welcome to the Are You Awesome Today podcast. I am your host, Stephen Shaner, and you are invited to join us weekly as we talk with successful people who will share with us their personal and professional experiences that have taken them from great to awesome. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Are You Awesome Today podcast. I am your host, Stephen Shaner, the Attitude Chiropractor. Joining us today is Ben Camille. Ben is the owner and founder of Travel Defend. And we'll be talking a little bit about travel insurance and a business model that he would like to share with us today. Ben, welcome to the podcast. Are you awesome today?
Yes. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for being here. I appreciate your time. Let's start off. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you gained this passion for travel insurance and the things you do.
So when I grew up in Toronto, and I was actually a big baseball player. That was my world back then. And I'm just going to kind of skip through that kind of quick, but in high school, I was a pitcher. I was one of the best pitchers in Canada growing up. You know, I was throwing 93, 94 miles an hour in high school. And I got many scholarship offers, and I ended up going to Fairleigh Dickinson University in Teaneck, New Jersey. Played 4 years baseball, and I knew I wasn't going to make the major leagues or anything like that. I was good, but I wasn't that good. And really, for the first time at that point, I kind of sat up and I said, oh, because I was so focused on baseball my whole life. I was like, okay, like, what do I do now? Like, you know, I have to make money and a job. And like, I literally, it's weird to think, but I was 21 years old. I promise you, I never thought about it. And really, everyone was at that time, in my friends, everyone's figuring out what do they want to do with their life. And I went to one of my close friends, and he's almost like a business savant, a business guru, even at that young age. I mean, we were all growing up, we were into, you know, baseball cards and knowing stats. He was obsessed with, you know, Sam Walton of Walmart. And like, this was his world, right? So I spoke to him, and he said to me, at least at that time, he said, if we can figure out a way for you to make 30 grand, then you don't need to get a job. That was at least how we thought at the time, right? I was 20 years old. So I was like, okay, cool. 30 grand. Okay, how do I do that? What does that mean? I don't even know what you're talking about. We came up with this idea. I was like, what do you like to do? And what are you good at? And I just came up with this idea to start a luxury tour company, which sounds crazy. For whatever reason, I was attracted to that business. To make a long story short, we did do that for 17 years, very unsuccessfully in the beginning, extremely successfully as the 17 years would go along. And I'm married with kids, and it supported my family for many years. Now, when COVID came, obviously everyone in the travel world and many people outside of the travel world were really destroyed financially. I really was hit very hard. Our events were super, super high end. When I'm talking high end, I mean like for a week, we would have clients would come pay families, you know, $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 just for a week. Okay.
Wow.
So we're talking about very high end. And I knew, I mean, we were out 3 years. So all my savings were gone. I mean, it was bad. And when we were coming back, we were obviously very desperate for this to happen. I mean, we did it for many years, so it was going to be successful. But I knew that nobody was going to book these tours without travel insurance. I just knew it. Like, no one's going to risk this type of money with the world being like this. And so I started researching it just for my own clientele to say, okay, well, who actually pays these bills? Like, how does this actually work in real life? Not to just sell paper. You know, if I'm running such a high-end event, which I did, we had a company that very detail-oriented. I mean, I have everything really down to a science. And this was no different. I said, okay, if I'm going to be selling travel insurance to my people, and I looked at it as a critical success factor of the business. Like, we're not going to sell, you know, the hotel if we don't have this figured out. And once I kind of got into that world, I realized that my mind just worked well for travel insurance, which sounds weird. But like, for example, at our events, we would have all this dining, all-inclusive dining, literally 24-hour food. I'm not even exaggerating. Food going 24 hours a day. I would walk into the kitchens with the chefs, and they would have all this stuff. And even though I did it for so many years, my brain could never grasp what they're doing. I don't know, something about the kitchens didn't work for my brain, but travel insurance really did. Like, I got it very quickly. And I started to understand, how does this work? Who are the players? Who, you know, and I started fostering those relationships. I just got very into it. I started going to industry events, and maybe more than is normal. Like, why would you get so into it? But I just did. And I started selling it to my own clientele. And I realized that the money is crazy. I mean, it's crazy money, so easy and so fast. And so I'll give you an example. Let's say we have two people come into my event. Let's say it's 20 grand just for two people, 10 grand a person for a week. Let's say, average couple in their 70s or whatever it would be, 60, 70 years old, easily 10% of trip cost, nothing wrong with that. That's normal. So when you're talking about $2,000, and if you set this up and you do volume and you're doing this correctly, I mean, you can get 40% of that just straight up cash fast. I mean, you talk to someone for 5 minutes, it's over. And so I started to realize, I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like they're paying crazy amounts of money here. I started now going to other tour companies that were in the same niche as what we did. And I said, look, you guys are in the same boat. You know nothing about travel insurance. You know you need it. You know your people aren't going to book without it. Send all your people to us. I started a company, an offshoot company of my tour company called Travel Defend. And I said, send all your people to us. We're going to take care of them. We'll kick you back a commission anyway. And it really started growing from there. And I thought that once it was done, meaning once, that event was over and those kind of companies that we were working with, that event was over, I figured the Travel Defend was dead. I'd have to build it or whatever. And it never stopped. I mean, it just kept going and going and going. And the concept really is that travel insurance, no one knows what the hell they're buying. I want to be clear about this. Everyone buying knows nothing. Okay. Everyone knows they know nothing. And no one's loyal to any company, Allianz, AIG, no one knows what the hell there is going on. If you have a problem in real life, what do? You don't know what to do. Okay. We all know that you don't know what to do. So this is a massive hole in the industry at large. This exists of every company. These are all billion-dollar companies. So what Travel Defend does is we're a concierge, right? You would reach out to us. You need travel insurance. We will discuss your situation with you. We have access to every policy in America. So when you go to AIG or you go to Allianz, you have one or two options that they offer you, but you don't even understand what they're offering you. We have access to everything, and we're experts in all of them. So you call in, we figure you out, we do the paperwork for you, and then most importantly, really most important, we make sure you get paid in real life, okay? We bring now millions of dollars to these companies. We have tremendous power, and we add no cost. We don't add a penny to the cost. So there's no reason not to use us. We have a WhatsApp that's monitored 24 hours a day. Any issue you have, you reach out to us and our team will help you. I don't say this to push our company. I'm telling you because how it came about was just out of the same concept of tours, was wanting to help people and wanting to do what's right with the people. And when we saw the business model of travel insurance was already set up like this, meaning I don't have to upcharge. They already give commission. I mean, if I look on the computer, it says $800 for a policy. You look yourself, it will say the same $800. So why would you not work with us? And that was the beginning of all this, where I actually stopped doing tours and went into this full time. And we've been doing this for about 2.5 years. So I know that's a long-winded answer, but that's the basic gist of our background.
That's awesome. When I saw your one sheet here, this concept of travel insurance, I never really thought about much. I mean, my only experience with it was, even years ago, going to the airport, there's a little kiosk there where they sell travel insurance.
Right.
And that's the only time I've ever seen anything like that. So I wasn't even aware that, hey, you can go buy, travel insurance for, I guess, from pretty much any insurance company. Yeah. And so I wasn't even aware. So that was fascinating to me.
Sure.
You mentioned that you had your life focus was baseball.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you needed to change that focus. I'm curious, what were the steps or, some of the high level decisions or things that had to be done to make that transition? Sometimes people are in something, we'll say sports, and that's their life mission, but then maybe an injury pops in and now they can't do that sport anymore and they struggle with that. So what would you advise people that need to do focus?
It is hard because what has to happen, which I think many people don't do, is there has to be a realization of reality, right? And say, am I going to make the major leagues? Am I going, or whatever business, many entrepreneurs start businesses for the wrong reasons. They start a business because they like the business, but that's not a reason to do the business. The reason I'm doing this, I happen to have a passion for travel insurance now, which sounds odd because why would anyone have a passion for travel insurance? But I really do. But I think it's more because of just how we're able to help people and how special it is and all this kind of thing. But if you have a passion for something, but it's not successful, or you realize that you're at a path in life that it's just not going well, in many cases, again, everyone's different. It's hard to give a broad answer, but in many cases, it's not that you're not trying hard enough. It's just that the vehicle you're in is wrong. And I think that people have to be really mindful of that. Like my nephew came to me a while back and he said, I want to buy a business. Okay. Which already I don't love that concept, but that's a whole other discussion. And I said, okay. And he's looking at numbers and he was working with some other company and he found a company that sells Turkish towels. Okay. That's the business. And I said, okay, what is their competitive advantage? Okay. Why would anyone buy your Turkish towel as opposed to any other Turkish towel? And when he couldn't answer that question, I knew the business was flawed. And so you always have to ask yourself, what is my competitive advantage? If you don't have an answer for that, especially as an entrepreneur, either figure one out, create one, or move on to something that does. Because if you're in the mix with 100 other companies selling the exact same thing and there's nothing special about you, you will kill yourself trying to make this happen. And so that's kind of the answer to the question I think you've asked, is really to just trying to have a reality to what's going on. You know, like if you watch Shark Tank, a lot of times these people come on and the sharks sometimes will just give advice. Like you need to just, they'll say, go in the barn, go at the back of the barn and just shoot it. Like it's not a good vehicle, right? And I think people have a hard time with that because there's so many emotions put into these things. And I think I've been lucky in that way that I don't get so emotionally attached when I see it's not working.
Yeah, good for you. Okay, I know you have a passion for this business model that you were using to success.
Yeah.
Tell us a little more about this business model.
Well, right. So the point is why is Travel Defend successful, right? That's really an important question because many entrepreneurs, you can look at different business models and say, why is this one working? Most businesses that you would look at, if I told you that we would make, I'm not going to say exactly, but hundreds of thousands of dollars in terms of profit year one, immediately. First of all, that almost never happens. It's unheard of to say that I'm going to open the door of a business within year one, I'm going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars. Okay. Now we are way past that now. Okay. But year one, we did. When I say we did, I did. I was by myself. Now I have a whole team. But at the time, I was literally by myself. Without paying a penny in marketing, with no inventory needed, and straight cash, right? When you look at different business models, you have to say, why is one successful over the other? So certain business models are very difficult. Either they require tremendous marketing budget. Nowadays, Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads is death. It's killers of businesses. You have many businesses that you think are successful, big ones that are doing $100 million in revenue that are still losing money. They're losing millions and millions of dollars, even though they're bringing in all that money. Okay. If that's the game that you're playing, that's not what I'm talking about. Many times people are trying to do that maybe to sell it or whatever, but that's not, I'm trying to make money in real life. So the point is, you have to look at every business and say, how am I going to get this off the ground? Marketing can be very pricey. Inventory can be very tough because as much money has come in and as much as you sell, and that's why e-commerce has both of those problems, right? You have to put tremendous money into marketing and you have to put tremendous money into inventory. So the question is, if let's say you have a business like that, when do you actually make money? Where is the money? It's always churning and churning and churning. Oh, marketing, inventory, and you never actually make money. I have people and friends who are in these businesses, very tough, because there's always a reason to put more into marketing. And a lot of mistakes can happen in inventory. You're selling X and you just bought the wrong style. You brought the wrong colors. These don't sell. So there's a lot of problems. And that's why Travel Defend in many ways is the perfect business model. Because again, no inventory, right? Many businesses, when they need to scale, let's say, for example, Walmart would come to you and say, okay, we want to buy 10 million items of your product. The problem you would have is creating 10 million. I mean, you could do it at certain scale. Once you get to that type of scale, you're going to have all sorts of problems with the product. It can't be created that quickly, shipping it over, and you have all these actual problems. Another problem is that with most businesses, when someone buys something from you, they expect your item to work perfectly, or they expect your service to be done correctly. And that exists with us, but for the most part, 98% of cases, people say, I hope I don't have to use your product. Think about that. They just bought something from us and they don't even want to use it. I mean, that's fantastic. So you can do crazy volume and you can still handle the volume, right? And the reason there's no marketing expense is because we could do it. I'm not saying we wouldn't do it in the future, but our main form of building the business right now is going to different feeders, tour operators, travel agents, meaning there's thousands of tour operators that run very high-end tours that know nothing about travel insurance. They need help with it. They have luxury clients. What if someone goes to Africa on their tour and has a stroke or something? Like, what do they do? And so the point is, there's a lot of opportunity there. And the craziest thing that doesn't even make sense, there's no one else in America doing what we're doing. It doesn't exist. We're the only ones. So if you look at life insurance or health insurance or car insurance, there's a million guys fighting with each other. With what we do, we're the only one. Meaning there's, of course, travel insurance companies and there's Expedia type websites that have 100 options. But a concierge service like what we do, it doesn't exist. We're the only one in America. That's why what we do is the perfect business model on every single category you can look at, which is rare. Most people can't find something like that. And that's why I was quick to drop tours, because I was like, you know what? Nothing can beat this. It's unbelievable.
I like that concept too. Having self-published my books
Yeah.
was a great way to go because I don't have to have inventory.
Does
right?
Amazon do it for
goes to
you?
Amazon.
They'll just print them.
Amazon does
That's
it.
awesome.
They print on
I
demand.
love that. It's
If
sick.
you go to Amazon and buy my book, they print it and ship it.
It's sick. I love
And
that.
it's like
How fast
yeah,
do they
so
do
I
that?
don't
They
have-
do that in 2 days?
usually not. Usually it's about a week.
A week, okay.
But still,
It's unbelievable.
But
I know,
still,
I love
that's
it.
yeah. But that saves me a ton of
Oh my
money.
gosh.
You know, and even if I went to a publishing house, I would still be paying for any of the marketing that's going on. So that doesn't
Sure.
change. The marketing is still on my shoulders, which I've got people that have gone through the publishing houses, and the publishing houses really don't do much for them. You know, they print the book and then they make them buy 10,000 copies. So they've got 10,000 copies in their garage
Right.
and they need to market and sell on their
Yeah.
own. So I like that concept. And it really makes me think about, you know, some of the things I'm doing and some of the things I've seen other people doing, how they could perhaps convert to a business model like this rather than what they're currently doing.
Yeah.
Because it can be a struggle in marketing, especially. You think, oh, here's a great idea, and you put some money into it, and it just doesn't produce.
It's more
And
important to spend time. People hate the effort of thinking. They actually hate it.
Mhm.
If I put someone in a room, no phone, no nothing, just think about it. And I did that for a long time with a lot of problems I had in business. And I would just literally go for walks. I'm a big walker. And I would just shut everything off and just, it's painful. Like you really have to think. And people don't like to do that. They'll put so much effort into so many things and go down roads because it's just like, okay, here's what I'm doing. You know, and so this kind of question is this business a good business for me? Is something that I think gets lost in translation. Because if I speak to so many people, why are you doing the business that you're doing? And we go to 100 people. Why are you a window guy? Why are you a pizza shop guy? Like, why are you doing this stuff? And I feel, and I could be wrong, I haven't done that, so I don't really know, but I feel in most cases, they don't actually have good answers.
Sure.
And that's something that as an entrepreneur, if you're starting out or if you're struggling, take a step back and don't be scared to start something new because it can work quickly if it's the right vehicle. It really can.
We get stuck sometimes with there's a great book out there, Roger Von Oak, called A Whack on the Side of the Head. And it's about, you know, innovation and creativity and stuff. And there he talks about how we get stuck with the first right answer. You know, and we're taught that. We go through how many tests and quizzes and things that we learned in school. Everything
That's
was
the answer.
one right answer.
Right.
That's the answer.
And
you stop there.
That's a beautiful concept. I like that.
It is, but he's like that. What's the second right answer? And we don't think about that.
Yeah.
And, you know, looking at some of the things I'm reading on your one sheet, and has really got my brain trying to be creative and innovative and think of some other things.
Yeah.
I recently, for this podcast, you know, my niche really wanted short audio. And most of the people, and I talked to some people and they're like, no, I don't have time for videos, which is unfortunate because there's a lot of great YouTube videos, TED Talks out there that you can learn from. I spend a lot of time on YouTube, but that's what they wanted. So that's what this podcast is all about. You know, recently I was on a YouTube channel and the lady asked me, have you ever thought about doing a YouTube channel? And I explained, yes. However, this is the reason I do an audio only podcast. But then I'd automatically click, okay, what's the second right answer? Is there an opportunity for me to maybe do a YouTube channel? So I'm
Right.
kind of going down that road now
Sure.
and kind of seeing what I might want to do there. So looking for the second and third right answer can
Yeah, I
really
like that.
produce some great results. Your website is traveldefend.com.
It
What will
is.
people find there? And is that how they can reach out to you?
Yeah, traveldefend.com. I have a good thought on that as well. When you look, I don't know if you've done this recently. Have you looked to buy a new website? Or like if you look for any website that exists on the planet, it's taken. Okay. Literally anything you can possibly think of. So when I tell you traveldefend.com, right? Not travel dash, not traveldefend.ou.biz, whatever, right? In your
Yeah.
mind, you must think that cost me $50,000. And I'll tell you why. Because travelguard.com, AIG, company AIG, very famous company, their travel insurance division is called travelguard.com. Okay. Travelguard.com is $1 billion business. Okay. So when I came up with the name Travel Defend, I was kind of looking like something similar. You know, we're defending your travel, Travel Guard, Travel Defend, same type of vibe. When I saw traveldefend.com for a penny, I said, you know, this is from the gods, okay? This is meant to be. And so I snatched that up in 2 seconds and I haven't looked back. That's what I always think about when I think traveldefend.com. What are the chances? I mean, it's unbelievable. It's crazy.
It is. Yeah, when I started my business, Awesome Attitude, awesomeattitude.com was not available. So I went with awesomeattitude.net, and that's what I've been using for, gosh, more than 10 years now.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
A few
Everything
years
is
back,
taken. It's unbelievable.
yeah, well, a few years back, awesomeattitude.com became available.
Oh, nice.
And so I started getting all these emails. Hey, this is now available for 12,000.
Yeah.
You know, one was 20,000. I'm like, no,
And
I'm
now
happy
those
where I'm
prices
at.
are 50,000. Any
I know.
normal
So
name .com is crazy. And
I
so
know.
I was
So
just like, literally, I was expecting this to suck. Like, I was like, ooh, what am I going to do here? And when it came up day one, I couldn't believe it. So, yeah, traveldefend.com, go there. We have a phone number. Most of our sales are with phones. I know that the world is more technology based now. You can certainly buy online through our website and we'll be under our account and we can help you. And we have an algorithm that will automatically search through all policies in America and give you, based on the artificial intelligence that we taught it, give you the best option for your situation. But it always is better to call. People have a lot of questions. What if my grandmother is sick? And people have a million questions. Call us 1-800-578-2871. And that number, 1-800-578-2871, our whole team is standing by. Concierge service would take care of you, answer all your questions, and get you figured out. And so that's the plan if you need travel insurance for sure.
all right, excellent. As a final thought, why would people need travel insurance? What kind of problems could they encounter?
Sure. So travel insurance primarily is for people when they leave America. Not fully, meaning if you have an expensive trip in America, then you certainly could do it. But travel insurance, we can think of it two ways. We can protect you before the trip and then on the trip. So what could they do for you before the trip? They would give you your money back. There's nothing else they can do for you. So let's say you have an expensive trip that you've booked and you're nervous, you want to protect that money. That's, step one. Once you're on the trip, there's all these in-trip benefits, like all the medical coverage. So just let's say someone is leaving America, even if it's not an expensive trip, you should never leave America without getting travel insurance for the medical aspect. It's cheap. I don't care. I mean, not saying for this for my benefit, it's $100. I mean, I don't care. But my point is, that's not the driver of cost in travel insurance. Medical, very cheap. So certainly everyone should get, if they're leaving America, you get medical coverage. Listen, I'm very paranoid. Should see what goes on here. I mean, we have a WhatsApp that's monitored by our team. We have thousands of clients. All day, we have people reaching out with sickness, injuries, hospitals. We just had a man 2 weeks ago in the Caribbean who had a stroke. He was 81 years old. He needed to be medically evacuated back to America. That was over $800,000 bill, okay, which the travel insurance took care of. Obviously, we made sure. But the point is, medical, very important. Obviously, if your trips are delayed, bags are lost, things like this, there's coverage for that as well, which many credit cards will have. But credit cards don't have medical. They really don't protect trip cost as well. So there's a lot of reasons to buy travel insurance. I would say mostly if you're leaving America or if you're going on a very expensive trip within America, fine. Otherwise, that's the time I think to get it. But yeah, and listen, you can call us even if you don't want to buy anything. You certainly could talk. Our team is experts at all this stuff, so we can help you.
All right. Excellent. Ben, thank you so much for giving us some of your time and sharing your passion for travel insurance and why it's so important to all of us.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
You bet. And for you and for all of our listeners, everyone, have an awesome day. Thanks for joining us today. For more information about our podcasts and speakers, and for additional educational resources, connect with us at awesomeattitude.net. Until next time, be you and be awesome.